Welcome back, everybody, to Evil's Comics. I'm Mike. This is going to be my review on Batman: The Last Night on Earth. It's written by Scott Snyder, drawn by Greg Copula. Um, it's a Elseworlds title, I guess you can say. I think it was one of the first DC Black Label. It's got the Black Label. You can get a good look at the cover and the back art. And if you notice on the cover right there, it's got, something a little strange. Alright, so let's get into it. This book is kind of like a dystopian future type book, where some event has happened and the world is basically dead, and it's being ruled by this bad guy named Omega. Omega has gone through the world and beaten most of the heroes and villains. Basically, this story is Batman trying to figure out how it started, where he fits into the current situation, and who is Omega, how he was able to do all this, and eventually if he can save the day and fix everything. I will say there is a major plot line as far as it leads back to, because I'm not really sure what Earth this is supposed to be. There's 52 Earths in DC. I'm not sure which Earth this is supposed to be based on. It is an Elseworld, and you'll see why. But it could be one of the other Earths that they haven't really touched on. I really wish they would continue this this Batman world that they started here. I kind of show you at the end. I'm not going to reveal any of the spoilers or the ending, anything like that. It is a little harder to find, but it's not too hard to find. It did come out in 2019, if I didn't mention that. I think December. I think it ended maybe at the beginning of, maybe 2020, I want to say. It's only a 3-issue series. It's not a long series, which is kind of nice for a casual reader. But there is a main plot with the murder alley and the beginning of Batman and his origin story, and with Joe Chill. And it's this recur, at first it starts off, and it's kind of going back over the events of the his night on Murder Alley, and then when he gets there, it also it's a little boy there, and the boy, he's strapped to this mechanical apparatus where it ends up shooting Bruce. Bruce ends up waking up, and it's this whole thing where he's in Arkham Asylum, and it's this whole storyline where they're trying to say that he's having this hallucination, that none of this stuff is happening. It flash forwards, and they even kind of show you in this in his hallucination that he was coming up with all these villains, and he even has his insane asylum bat suit, because he's supposed to be in this the Batman's a figment of his imagination. He does, as soon as he gets the bat suit, he goes nuts. I think he goes through and he literally, I think he either incapacitates or kills all the guards and everybody he meets just to escape Gotham. Alfred's trying to talk him down, this version that's supposed to be there. Eventually Batman does escape, and when he escapes, he wakes up in this desert, and Joker's narrating at this point, and throughout the whole tale, that's one of the parts I do love about this story is it's a Joker showcase, and it is very Joker funny. There's one I'm gonna get to, it's in the second issue, but it does drop a couple jokes that were kind of funny. And I want to say this: if you've ever read any of the Joker, and he does, a lot of the writers, they try and drop jokes said by the Joker, and they either come off like really mean or cynical. But in this book, he actually has some funny punchlines. I think the ongoing title, he's literally trying to. He keeps trying to tell a knock knock joke, but he's getting it wrong. But there's kind of a reason. They show you right off the bat. The Joker's in this, like, it's just his head, and he's in a broken jar. And, so it's kind of like, maybe Batman is crazy, because they're having full-on conversations. And, of course, Joker's being Joker. He's trying to, be funny about the situation. But at the same time, he's also happy to see Batman. It's explained later on that, like, Alfred, for some reason, got mad at the Joker and left him there for a reason that's never revealed. They go on to some other stuff where Batman starts traveling, like, I guess they're on Earth, but they never really say, but, like, right there, it's supposed to be, like, how Oa crashed into Earth. It's, like, the last of the Green Lanterns. He travels further a little more, but he does find out what happened in the Green Lanterns, and at this point they kind of tell you that Omega is using the anti-life equation, and that he's basically beaten Darkseid, figured out the anti-life equation, and he's using it, and he has started using it. At this point, it's like a simple signal, so it hasn't like taken over everything, but that's the whole point of this the comic is the story is he's figured out how to make the signal stronger, and he's about to take over the whole Earth and universe and everything with this anti-life equation. If you don't know what the anti-life equation is, basically it's like turning a person or any animal or life into like a basic zombie type of, you lose thought, but it's not like a zombie because you don't eat flesh or anything like that. It's more like you just lose free will. Like basically like this guy Omega, if he tells you to go take a poop in the bushes, you're gonna go take a poop in the bushes, whether you want to or not, or you're gonna go try. Okay, so it goes a little further. Batman deals with these weird Green Lanterns that he runs into. They're kind of like zombified Green Lanterns. They kind of go into it where they can't even make constructs. They can make these little baby versions, and Batman takes some punches from them, and they're not even strong enough to wound him or anything. Eventually, they run into like Poison Ivy and some other people that have been like successfully hidden, and it's something with Amista, and Amista is using the last of her magic to create like this gem world type of shield underground. And you find out it's like Supergirl, let me see, Poison Ivy, I think it's Donna Troy, and Nubia that are down here in this Amista underground shelter. They also introduce Wonder Woman, that's who this is over here, like a dystopian Wonder Woman. And she's leading this crew. It's like everybody that has survived. And at this point, she's telling everybody that she's made a deal with like Hades in the afterworld, and it's like at this point, like it's like the last known safe place for them to go, because Omega is about to like win and kill everything or take over everything, and they do kind of go more into it, and it's a whole lot of story. I'm not going to go into it, but like completely, but it's basically they go into at this point like what kind of started it, how it started, and basically it's a big Lex Luthor and that he did something with Superman that caused all this. That's basically the end of the first issue. Is kind of all that in a bag of goodness. So we're going to go to the second issue and get a good look at the cover and the back cover. And again, it is Scott Snyder and Greg Copula. It is inks by Jonathan Glapayan and color by FCO Placencia. Sorry if I mispronounced your names. So it goes a little further and back into this. It goes back into the Joe Chill storyline, and at the end, it seems real confusing as you're reading it. Some of it's like new and fresh, like they're adding on to the mythos of his origin story. When it gets to the end, it does make a complete story, and you're like, oh, okay, I see where they were going at with that. It does dip and dive, but I wanted to point this out. It gets to this point, and it's back to Joker and Batman, and they're traveling to different places in this world. They have left Wonder Woman and them at this point, and now they're still traveling on. It does start out, and they're in the desert, and they kind of run into this. They call it like a Speed Force tornado storm, and it kind of passes by. But it's Joker and Batman. You know, Joker in a little glass thing, and they have a horse. And at this point, Joker keeps really telling Batman that at this point, like, he really wanted to be his Robin. And he's always secretly wanted to be his Robin. That's why, you know, he never wanted to break the bat. He always wanted to, you know, get to the next fight. But at this point, he's kind of more settled on, like, he really wants to be Robin now that Robin's dead and this and that. And Batman kind of makes this joke, like, about that, and I'll just show you the panel. But he just kind of makes this joke that he would never let Joker be Robin, that he'd rather make this horse Robin. And all of a sudden the Speed Force lightning storm strikes the horse, and it instantly, like, you know, the horse starts aging like immensely fast. They show it over here, and instantly the horse dies. And Joker makes this crack about, like, how it was the first Robin he ever liked, and it was a shame that he just died, and now he's going to have to discontinue, like, his t-shirt, you know, memorabilia for the new Robin, you know, kind of thing. I thought that was real funny. It does go into show you that the Speed Force tornado thing is like all the speedsters trapped in this weird Speed Force explosion thing that is... But they do show you, like, bits and pieces of different heroes throughout this comic, like what happened to them, what they're doing, you know, because the Flash, they're not dead, they're just stuck in this weird, like, tornado thing where they keep running, but they can't get out of it, so now they're kind of like slowly dying. Kind of jumps forward through a whole bunch of other stuff, and they finally do get to, like, the point where, like, we're getting closer to, like, Omega's storyline. They do reveal, like, right here that Bane and Scarecrow are, like, the main enforcers for Omega. And I will like to say that they are just, I mean, they are so creepy and cool looking. Like, there's Scarecrow right there, and he's like this little spider type of guy, but he actually has these long syringe things. Bane pretty much looks the same, but I mean, he's a lot different. Like, in this same panel down here, if you see, Alfred's like got a shotgun, and he's literally like blasting Bane in the chest, and I think it's like 3 times, like blah 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 blah. And I mean, they show, and this is Omega right here, but they show Bane behind Omega, and he's riddled with, like, green blood. So I mean, he's different. If he can take, like, three shotgun, you know, blasts to the chest. But they goes a little further in the story, and eventually Batman runs into a whole bunch of different heroes, and they kind of reveal right here that he's finally found Superman, and no, it's just Lex, and he's got, like, a whole barn full of super clones, and Lex is trying to stay away from Omega, and he's using all these super clones to kind of use as a force field. The reason he has so many of them, because I think in that panel there's like 13 different Superman there, is because they're not as strong as the real Superman, because they're like weak versions of clones. And then he really explains it that they age like super fast, and that their powers start diminishing at the advanced, you know, acceleration of their life. But this is kind of at the point where they go into what Lex Luthor did, and, you know, kind of because he's kind of the main cause of the events of what lead into all this. And they finally do get here, and I'm not going to go into the whole reveal, but they kind of show some of the villains that were a part of what caused. And you see like Starro, Grodd, Cheetah, which is kind of crazy, but then they show Sinestro, Black Manta, Superman, and Joker, and we're all involved with Lex Luthor and how the events of everything that came to be. But that Lex Luthor does say that it was his plan and it was meant to do something else, and it totally backfired, and that's why this world is like this dystopia, weird, version that it is. At this point, they get more into like Scarecrow and Bane, them trying to, because they're after the Batman and anybody in the Bat family, and you find out that Scarecrow's drugged all these different Supermans, so they start fighting Batman and everything. And this is where the Black Label comes in, because it is a bloody comic. I'm not gonna say it's like, there's not a lot of language, there's no nudity, but as far as some blood and right there, that scene alone, Wonder Woman's just chopping that semi-fake Superman's head clean off. But it is a bloody good mess, especially the very last issue, which I'm not going to show because there's too many spoilers in it. But the very last 3 pages, it's just nothing but blood and guts. It delivers. They do show some other cool stuff, like that's the Spectre, his body, and they do show right here Batman or Wonder Woman. When he dies, the Spectre's this big ass mountain in the middle, and that they're literally walking on his cape, and supposedly where his head goes, they turn into some kind of portal to a different netherworld or something like that. They do show you what happened to most of the real heroes, and at this point they're basically all dead. Omega has at one point or another killed or gotten rid of them. It kind of goes back in the future, and they finally make it to Gotham when finally through all his travels with Batman and Joker, and at this point Wonder Woman, the dystopian Wonder Woman, she finally they finally make it to Gotham. When they get there, they get approached by the Court of Owls, and they show it right here. And the Court of Owls are normally a Batman group of villain. We will probably see them in the next the Matt Reeves Batman movie that's coming out. But they do show you that with the Court of Owls is Dick Grayson, and the real Dick Grayson. All along he's been... And he kind of explains the reason he's with the Court of Owls. It's because, bats, they're great and everything, but what eats bats? Hey, owls, And all the bats were being hunted down, so it was a way, by Omega, so it was a way that he could hide and still help out Batman. So we're getting to this is the last issue, the 3rd issue of Last Night on Earth. There's the back cover. And I'm not going to go into too much into this because it's in Gotham, and it's the final showdown and everything. That's where Omega's made his base. I will show you probably the coolest thing in this whole comic, because honestly, all in all, this is a great read. I picked it because it is one of my favorite newer Batman stories that I read. It was just so different and everything. The Joker's head, and the Joker's head's actually alive. It's not some kind of Batman's tripping or he's make-believing it. No, it's Joker, and they did kind of, but, let me just show you, how cool is that? And I'll show you what that is in a second. Let me show you that again. Okay, now, in this comic, at one point, and yeah, it's a spoiler, but this is the coolest spoiler. And if you don't run out and go buy this just for this, then shame on you. Because this is one of the coolest things. Yeah, everybody knows the whole Batman and Joker thing. And excuse me for not having this right on. But I went into the whole how Joker's been knocking about he wants to be the next Robin. Well, there does come a point where Joker does become the next Robin. He has his own, with his head, he gets in this robotic suit, And not only does he save Batman's life, literally on this page, you know, it's right here. He ends up killing this guy who was about to kill Batman. But he actually saves his life a couple times, and he's by the end of the story, he's actually a really good Robin. Not only that, but it's a Robin that's busting jokes. You know, it's like almost like a Deadpool. But overall, I mean, this story was really awesome. If you didn't notice the art, I mean, come on, Greg Copula. Scott Snyder, for those of y'all who don't know, Scott Snyder is a huge writer. He's doing a Nocterra right now. If you haven't checked out that, that is a great series, and I will be doing a review on that. I can't recommend Batman the Last Night enough. It was such a great read. I want to say it was like a 4 out of 5. It does have, I want to say the whole jumping around the story is not so much fun, but by the last issue, everything makes sense. If you can grab these now, it's pretty cool. I mean, not a lot of people know about that whole Joker Robin thing. I haven't seen too many people talk about that. Did you know about it before I brought this book up? I mean, if you did, let me know. So that's my review on Batman the Last Night on Earth. If you haven't already, you know, let's go ahead and get you subscribed up to the channel. Hit that like button. Hit the bell notifications. I'm dropping videos like crazy. Y'all have a good night. I'll see you next time. Thank y'all.